Welcome to the Informinator.net.
I really wasn't going to weigh in on this, but here we go. It is so difficult to grow up as a person of color, specifically a woman, and view yourself as beautiful in any sense of the word growing up in this country. I remember growing up in a predominantly white community, wishing myself out of this body, out of this culture, take my name if it meant that I could wake up blonde-haired and blue-eyed, never having to explain who I am or worry about being accepted. That is why this American Eagle ad with Sydney Sweeney is especially off-putting.
Hey guys, this is AP from the Uncomfortable Truth with AP and Chatty. So you saw there on this first clip, you see how the girl talks about this American Eagle advertisement with Sweeney made her feel, right? Because this controversy has been all over social media about, matter of fact, I actually saw an article about it too. So I think it's ridiculous. I think anyone with common sense is going to feel that this is ridiculous. But you do have these people, these unhinged. Obviously, they lean left in their politics, and I say that for a reason, and I'll get to that right now. But what I want to bring up is this girl. She talks about how this advertisement for the jeans with Sydney Sweeney makes her feel. It makes her feel less of herself because that's the way she says she was brought up. Like not the fact that she was parented this way, but that the fact that her skin color was a problem to herself. Her identity was a problem to herself. I usually relate these things, and I always mention this, and it doesn't ring truer than right now. This is what happens when you are not brought up correctly as a child. Parenting is the biggest issue in this country. The fact that we have so many problems in this country, almost everything can be come back to parenting. When violence is done in your neighborhood or in your city, it goes back to the parents. And I'll tell you why. Because when a child is young, they're malleable. They can be good, they can be bad. We don't know. I mentioned in the book of Ecclesiastes, there's a part in there, and I don't give you verses very often, and there's a reason for that. I really want you to do the homework. If you're a Christian or want to become a Christian, I need you to go there and read that Bible and gain a relationship with God. That's the mood I'm feeling right now. That's how I'm going to tell you. So, in the book of Ecclesiastes, go look it up. There's a part in there where he talks about a funeral versus the birth of a child. He talks about that it's more better for you to go to a funeral. Now, this isn't word for word, so look it up. It's better for you to go to a funeral than to go to a party for the birth of a child. And the reason why he explains is because you don't know what a baby is going to be when they grow up. They could be a murderer. They could be Elon Musk, a billionaire. They could be a jerk. They could be a good person. There's nothing for you to gain there. Just the simple fact that you're congratulating somebody that, hey, congratulations, you're having a child. Or you having your own child. There's a lot to learn there from that. But in that book, it explains to you when you go to a funeral, it makes you think of your own mortality. It makes you think of your family. It makes you think of plans. Like, what are you going to leave for your family if something happens to you? It gives you a lot of thought. It gives you something to think about. It also makes you think, which is even more important, about your own spirituality. What do you believe? You're here on this planet for such a short time. What do you believe? So when I see a young woman like this telling me that she has a problem with the commercial because of her identity, because the way she felt growing up, like she was inferior to other people, I blame that on parenting. A child should never feel that way. Your child should feel confident and strong and feel they're going to do good things on this planet. If you don't teach your children that, if you teach your children the victim mentality, which it almost looks like maybe that's what these parents did for her. They gave her the victim mentality. You know what I'm talking about. We hear often, and it's not something that I make it up. I'm not a racist. I don't care about any of those things. I don't even like the fact that we have to bring up race. But this is something, these are issues that you people bring up. And when I say you people, I mean non-Christians. You bring these things up. And so we have to talk about them. But I have heard and I've seen videos. There are black parents that say when they have children, they teach their children the dangers of policemen and white people and those type of things. And then you wonder why these people grow up with hate in their heart, because that's what they're taught at a young age. They're not taught the opposite, which is, yeah, there's going to be some people that never like anybody on this planet. But you know what? You can do things if you choose to put your mind to it, and you do good things, you try hard, you have good character, you'll become something in this world. So this girl right here, that's what I say. I say she has a lack of faith. She had terrible parenting. That ad did nothing to her. She did everything to herself and her parents, and she allowed herself to become a victim. That's video one.
Sydney Sweeney, Aryan Eagle ad is not only xenophobic and racist, it's also scientifically inaccurate. She says genes often determine hair color and eye color. I'm sorry, often? That's literally what they do. If they're not determining hair color and eye color, what is? It's giving red pill podcast bro with no marketing experience clearly running their ad department. And I just hate when companies make content trying to use medical or scientific terms and then completely fuck it up. Like, it's not that hard to Google what genes do, how DNA works. Do genes often determine our traits, or do they always determine our traits?
So you see on video two, the girl just wants to take things out of context. We all know genes contribute to who you are, or not who you are, but what you look like. Your father and your mother both contribute to what the children are going to look like. That and with the hand of God, because sometimes kids do come out and they don't really look like either parent. The point is it's just a commercial about genes. It's just an advertisement about genes. You're taking it too far. You're turning it into, oh, you can't use scientific words. Why not? The problem here is you have some smarts. You understand a definition, obviously, but you have no ability to grasp the situation and tell yourself, is this jokes? Are these jokes they're telling me? Are they being serious? Are they being racist? You can't discern from either because you have no wisdom. And this often is associated with godless people. Now, obviously, you don't hear me saying this do acts of violence. I'm just breaking it down to you, folks. I'm being honest with you. I'm being real with you. This is a woman that can't discern between jokes and seriousness. It's an ad. Everybody has genes that make you who you are. That commercial wasn't saying we're better than you. White people are better than you. You're turning it into that. No one else is.
I keep thinking that people just are not going to believe us until we're hung out there. But then even then, I feel like they'll be like, oh, no. Kind of like they are with. I see the same perpetual self-imposed victimhood. You know, I did a post about saying, hey, like, these are the action steps that we really need to see from the good whites. Where I said, I need protection. Put my cash out. And she goes, well, would you just rather white women just not follow you at all anymore? Because da-da-da. And I'm like, yeah, definitely unfollow me. If you thought you being here and clicking a follow button was doing me a favor, same as that one guy.
Okay, I don't even know what this girl's talking about. She's being a victim. She's crying over an advertisement. Does that seem normal to you? Doesn't seem normal to me. She's crying over an advertisement. These people, these three people now that you have seen, it's either they're nuts, right? They're unstable. They're mentally unstable, or they don't have God in their life. I would say they don't have God in their life. They're functioning in society. They have jobs. They weren't taught the right way. They're far away. They're far away from God. And so now they're ignorant. She seems to be wanting to cash in. I gave my Cash App. Is that what she said? So she wants the good whites, quotation marks, to send her money. And now she's saying, oh, don't follow me. Don't follow me. This is a person that's a lover of herself. She wants to make money. She wants to feel like a victim. She wants to make videos and try to collect money off it and pretend that she's not doing that. If you want to make videos and you want to make money, say it. There's nothing wrong with it. Just say it. People just want honesty in this world. Everybody's a liar. It's refreshing to hear people just tell the truth. Why do we watch people like Joe Rogan? Right? Why do we watch people like PBD's podcast? Or any of these top names? Clay Travis. They're all making money. They're doing something to make money. They give us entertainment. It's okay to be honest. But don't act like you're this victim. You need protection. Here's your Cash App. You're just a lover of yourself. That's what I get out of it when I see people ask for money that way. If you're providing a service and somebody wants to give you money and you're upfront about it, there's not a problem there. This is a person that's just trying to make money by claiming she's a victim because she's considered a person of color and she didn't like this ad. It hurt her feelings. Why hasn't any of these people of color just said, you know what, I'm fine, I look good. It doesn't matter. Jeans are jeans. There's beautiful black women out there. There's beautiful Asian women out there, Brazilian, every race you can imagine. There are beautiful women. They're handsome men. Doesn't matter. Jeans are jeans. All jeans are is whatever your parents were, whatever they passed down to you. Maybe they had good genetics. Maybe they were very healthy people. And now whenever you have kids, they come out even healthier than most. And then you have people that have issues, right? Maybe their parents, that's why doctors ask you, is there a history of cancer or anything in your family's history? Because it could be passed down to you. There's genes for everything. At the end of the day, I don't look as good as Sydney Sweeney, right? I don't look as good as Tom Cruise, but I don't care. That's the last thing I'm concerned with. I'm concerned about being a great son to my Father, the Lord in heaven, a great Christian, a great husband, and a great father. That's what matters to me the most. Everything else is secondary. That's why I don't get too caught up and tied up in politics and with that unwavering support for one person or the other. Because I have an understanding people are flawed and most people will disappoint you in life. It's just a fact. But that's what I'm just trying to get at. This is just an advertisement. And if you have a problem with it, there's something wrong with you. You need to get help. You need to get better. Maybe you need to start going to church. Of course, there's going to be many of you that say, well, we don't like your message. You just made us not want to go to church. You were never going to go to church. You can lie about it and pretend that that's the reason. I'm the reason I stopped you. But that just goes to show that is your character. It has always been the same with you. You're a victim person. You're always going to look at yourself as a victim. You should let others make that decision what you are. If you have to run around saying you're the victim, then you're probably not the victim. Anyways, I thank you guys for watching. This has nothing to do with any future episode I'm going to bring up, but I will say on my podcast, The Uncomfortable Truth with AP and Chatty, I will be talking about atheism and why I believe atheism is satanic. I made a comment on a post earlier in the week. It got a lot of attention, and that's what it's about. So I'm going to make a video about that. Please subscribe and leave a comment. God bless.
Welcome to the Informinator.net.